What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Good day or evening to everyone out there in the decoding world. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality, and today we're going to be breaking down and decoding the Vatican. Vatican City, St. Peter's Square. This is the Vatican Decoded. This is a kind of a connecting point to my decode of Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic Demiurge. If you haven't seen that decode, please check it out. One of the more observed and viewed decodes that I've done. But it's directly connected because Yaldabaoth runs the Vatican. That's not even a secret, folks. And, you know, Yaldabaoth's connected to the Draconian, and it gets really, really interesting. But here we go, folks. Vatican Decoded. Here are the topics of conversation during this presentation. In the zero position, of course, the intro, which is what I'm doing now. Number one, we're going to be getting into the Vatican flag. So much can be told about what the Vatican is all about on their flag. Number two, it's not Vatican City, it's Yaldabaoth City. That's who runs the Vatican City, Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic Demiurge, which goes by many other names as well. Number three, we're going to get into some sacred geometry, and we're going to bring in the octagon. What does the octagon have to do with this? Well, you're about to find out, folks. Of course, number four, we couldn't leave out the guy who is the creator of, or at least the deliverer of the King James, the most widely used Bible in the world, folks, the King James Version. It doesn't matter what version you use, folks. They're all the freaking same. But we're going to get into King James. Number five, we're going to talk about what are the keys of Jesus? What is that all about? Well, you're going to find out during this presentation. This one's going to blow your doors off. Number six, the abyss. The abyss, folks, has everything to do with all this presentation. And then, of course, I always love to hear what you have observed during this presentation on what did you see. So I'd love to keep them coming, you fellow decoders. Some great decoders out there. Always love to hear what you have to say. So, folks, you know, starting off with this thing, you know, the intro again and the zero position, it's all about religion, which is slowly starting to decay down to where it's not even necessary anymore. And this is where the Trojan horses lie in our world. And it's part of the game, obviously, but it's not necessary anymore, folks. It's all about I know thyself during this age of Aquarius. But notice that on the right-hand side of the screen, the largest religion is Christianity. I think the number is even higher than that, but 31% of the stakes of the religion. And religion is currency, folks. I'm going to be showing you that. It's all about energetic currency. And it doesn't really matter which way you go with religion. All these major religions, they all lead back to the same origins, but it's like, the divine, whatever created this reality, this is the wardrobe. I mean, folks, do you only just own one pair of jeans? Do you only just own one blouse, you ladies? No, you have a closet full of clothes, and that's what I feel religion is. It's the clothing of the cosmos, of the divine. And, it's all about currency, folks. So this is what is starting it off, is religion. And, we get into the Vatican flag now because there's a lot to be said about this flag. Said about a lot of flags, but here it is, folks, and there's a very specific reason why there are the colors gold and silver on the flag, and then, of course, the very easily observed keys, the two keys. What do the keys mean? The gold and silver keys, and then a lot of symbology in here. What does all this mean, folks? Well, it is all about the gold and silver. I keep continually saying that we're being used for our energetic gold. Be careful what you give your energy to. If there isn't an awakening point of us, breaking free from the grips of the demiurge, it's just a matter of perhaps observing how this game works. And it's all about gold and silver currency. Silver is the most conductive element on the periodic table, or metal on the world stage. And remember, black and white, when you bring those two colors together, which make up our duality, they become gray. And that's the middle pillar, which of course is the 258, which, if you know anything about Saturn's magic square, those are the three numbers that it encases, the 258 or 852, which is the middle pillar, which is all about silver. So, folks, when you end up bringing more layers into the world of decoding beyond just numerology, things get more complicated. And again, that's why I continually show and support and say that man could never code this. Man is just expressing the blueprint, but wasn't the creator of the blueprint. We're just being used like little marionettes. Everybody's got a job to do. You have a job to do. I have a job to do. The Vatican has a job to do. It's a big game that we're playing. And part of the game is an understanding that we're in a game, realizing that. And I want you to notice, the words gold and silver, which is the two primary dominant colors on the Vatican flag, that equals the number 37, which is a match of, the sun and moon cards in the tarot. That's the 19th and 18th card. That equals 37. But notice that the 37th card in the deck of the Cards of Illumination is the Jack Diamonds card. I've been showing how accurate and how important these cards are in describing how our reality really, really works. Excuse me. So the Jack Diamonds, I feel we're all Jack in the Box. I decoded Jack in the Box, the fast food restaurant, showing that it's not just about fast food. Alice in Chains, Man in the Box. If you're a female, you'd be Jill. Jack and Jill went up a hill. I decoded that as well. If you haven't seen that decode, please check it out. But we're all stuck in the cube, the box, the three-dimensional cube of space. And the Jack is the 37th card. The Jack's the knight on the chessboard. You got to go into battle in the game of life, in the game of duality, predator prey down here. And it's all about creating emotional expressions, which is what we're being mined for, our energetic goal. That's why you got to be really careful on what you give your energy to. But there it is, gold and silver, 37 Jack Diamonds. We're all Jack in the Box, folks, and Vatican knows that. And here's where the esoteric almighty 33 comes into play. And that's why you can't just say, well, it's the Masons and the Jesuits. Folks, that's so old. That's like outdated. If you're still in that mindset, I'm going to suggest, and again, this is just my opinions. I state that in the very beginning of my videos, but you got to get past that point, folks, because it's all part of the script. Gold and silver, when you do the alchemy of them, going over to the trusty calculator, notice what it comes out to, 303.872. There's that 33. And that's the very reason why the story of the Christ character was the age of 33 at the crucifixion. It's all related to gold and silver energetic currency, folks. Music, movies, religion, it's all currency. And it's no secret that the Vatican, like Santos Bonacci, my great friend Santos, a lot of his early work, which I love, talks about your soul being owned by the Vatican and them, trading your social security number. There's a reason why you have a number, folks. You're being traded and you're being used on the stock exchange. That's not a secret with the bonds, and that's not a secret, folks. It's the reason why we're at maritime law, living in the sea of space, Capricorn, the sea goat. There's a lot of layers to this, but it all links to the gold and silver currency. Money was backed by gold at one point. We're moving into the digital currency now, cryptocurrency. But nonetheless, on the flag, folks, let me just zoom in. The keys. You've seen a skeleton key before, but there's that cross. But more importantly, what it really is it's in the world of the cards. It's the club suit. When you go to the cards and you look at look at the clubs, that's called a trefoil right there. And I'm going to be breaking that down and showing you a little bit more of that. But there it is, folks. There's the cross. That's a club suit. The clubs means air, the mind of the cosmos. Fire, air, water, earth. That's what these cards represent. Fire, air, water, earth. Air suit. That's why the Bible has a club on it, a cross, and we're going to get into that. But there it is. Trefoil is 30. It's got 2 of those in the keys. That's a match of the word demiurge and then the New Age name, because it doesn't matter it goes by so many different titles and names to try to fool you and think that it's different. And, the New Age name, which this didn't even come out until the 1870s. But they're all tied together, folks. There's no separation. At the very bottom, this red string right here, could this in fact be this esoteric shape called the anchor, anchoring us down into duality, folks? Could that be what this is all about right here? So let's get into the topic of Yaldabaoth City. It's not Vatican City, folks. They call it that, but it's Yaldabaoth City. Make no mistake about it. So I want you to notice in the bottom left-hand corner, here's right off of Wikipedia. I mean, look, the area, it's just the subtleties, but folks, the area, the landmass of Vatican City is 44. And, when you go to numerology, keep your eye on that Chaldean. You're going to see that word gold currency is 44. How about that? Tied to that landmass area, that area surrounding itself. Gold currency. And notice the founding date. Really important, folks. The birthday of Vatican City. February 11th, 1929. 29 is linked to Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth is 29 in the Chaldean. 19 is battery. February 28th can be written out as 211. And using real math, numberempire.com, the 211 is the 47th prime number, which is tied to Tetragrammaton. The Greeks coined this. Ancient Israelite God of the Bible. The New Testament. Greeks, because the Greeks were responsible for the New Testament. The card that is tied to February 11th is the Ace Spades card. Let me show you. Let's be really transparent. Here's the boilerplate chart for the cards. I've been showing this over and over, and you should know where your birthday is and all that stuff. But here's February. The months run horizontally and then the days run vertically. But there's February and 11th. This is the founding date of the Vatican. The Ace Spades card. And there it is. It's card number 40. Let's be very transparent on that. The Ace Spades Here it is, folks. Card number 40. So the February 11th, the 40th card, the Ace Spades. Why is this so important, folks? I mean, when you look at a deck of cards, the Ace Spades card is typically the card that they do some really fancy stuff on. It's the only card that's besides the Joker. It's the card in the deck that they usually put some kind of fancy symbolism in it or some kind of drawings. The 40th element. Now see, we syncretize this to give us more of a definitive. The 40th element on the periodic table. And you'd be thinking like, well, if you're new to this, like why are you bringing science? These are bridges, folks. Why we bring these in? These are bridges. They give us more clues. Tying them to the cards, tying them to numerology, tying them to dates. It's zirconium, which its most abundant weight is 89. It has several weights, but the most abundant is 89.905. That's a direct match of the word Yaldabaoth in the English using the letters A through Z matching the 1 through 26. 89. Zirconium, folks, when you go look at that on the Royal Society of Chemistry, here it is, folks. Maybe you haven't seen this since high school, but all these elements have little pictures that they put in here. And here it is, zirconium. And, this is the very reason why the band The Beatles, that's why they called themselves The Beatles. This is about death and regeneration. Here it is, folks. See, the ancient Egyptians used zircon gemstones in jewelry. The scarab beetle was a symbol of regeneration and creation, transformation, renewal and resurrection. The Beatles. The name is derived from this Arabic word, zargan, and it means gold-colored. We're talking about gold currency, folks. Gold-colored. 40 is tied to Kabbalah, the four worlds. And when you go down and you go to these oxidation states and isotopes, here are the most common ones, but here is the most abundant. Notice the natural abundance in percentages is on this category right here, and there is 89. It's the most abundant, 51%. 51 is tied to antimony, the all-seeing eye. Little subtleties, folks, but when you connect the dots, clearly you can see what's running. This is clear to me, and I got so much more to show you to support, because this is not just a one-hit wonder here, folks. That's what this means. The founding date specifically on February 11th tied to that number 40th card, tied to Yaldabaoth and zirconium, the 40th element, death and regeneration. Here are the original names for gold and silver. It's aurum and argentum. It's aurum and argentum. Notice it's a 173. When you go into numberempire.com, aurum and argentum from that 173 is the 40th prime number, which leads right back to zirconium again, folks. How about that? The two keys on the flag of the Vatican, gold and silver, tied to the Vatican City, the founding date, tied to zirconium and Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic demiurge which runs the Vatican, is tied to the original titles of gold and silver through numberempire.com being a prime number. Folks, there are no coincidences. This is the script. This is the blueprint of our reality, and that's why it's so tightly woven like this. Why we're seeing these connections. Remember, zirconium means gold-colored. We're being mined for our energetic gold. That's why gold is such a precious metal. Here is the latitude, longitude of the Vatican City. Let me be very transparent, folks. Here is the Vatican City. And there is the coordinates of the Vatican City, 41 degrees north and 12 degrees east in the country of Italy. There it is. And when we do the numerology of these, straight up, we get the number 40. which leads us right back to that element zirconium and the Gnostic demiurge called Yaldabaoth. So is Yaldabaoth running? Is this the demiurge that created our reality, folks? And of course, listen, if you created this reality, you're going to own all religions, but Christianity is the number one religion in the world, folks. Guess who runs and operates that, folks? You don't have to admit it. It's totally fine. But clearly you can see using this methodology, it's crystal clear what's running Christianity. It's crystal clear, folks. X marks the spot. Latitude, longitude. There's ley lines that run across the earth. The Vatican City is completely owned and operated by the Gnostic demiurge titled Yaldabaoth. It's 41 degrees north, 12 degrees east. When you just do it this way, 41 and 12, you add it up, you're going to get that number right there, 53, which is tied to the element iodine, which I've shown so many times now. It's one half of the I am that I am. I am that I am, folks. So the official Italian name of Vatican City is Citadel Vaticano. And that, folks, through numerology, is a direct match of that 53 and the latitude, longitude, just using the major coordinates on each side of the masculine side of the decimal. How about that, folks? See, folks, that's what I'm saying. It's man's not coding all this stuff like this. Folks, I can keep going. There are more names, and then it just gets more complicated. This is all organic. This has nothing to do with man. Man's just playing out the script. So again, folks, February 11th, 1929, here's the card, the Ace Spades, the 40th card. It's zirconium, it's Yaldabaoth. It's just clear, folks. It's crystal clear what's running the Vatican, what's running the major religion in the world called Christianity. You could be Jewish, you could be Protestant, you could be... It doesn't matter, folks. You got to know what's running whatever you believe in, what's running it. What's operating it? What's creating it? The February 11th date, which is the founding date of Vatican City, it's the 42nd day of the year, which is linked to this element called molybdenum. 42. This means, folks, when you go look at that element, let's go to here. These are the clues. So here it is, molybdenum. Look what it means. The name is derived from the Greek word molybdos, meaning lead, turning lead into gold. Earth would be lead, folks. That's why the keys are gold and silver. 4-2, when you say that, is 40, leading right back to zirconium and the 89, which is Yaldabaoth. Remember, folks, that the number 42 is tied to the word crucifixion. The Jesus character. And when you look at who founded this element molybdenum, his name was Peter. The guy who found or discovered molybdenum, his name is Peter. And what is St. Peter's symbol? It's the upside down cross. The mirror of the right side cross. Can't even talk today, the Jesus cross. The Christ cross. How about that, folks? So again, why this date? It's tied to the 42. How about the timestamp? Don't worry about the years here. I'm just going on the calendar. The timestamp of the day that they founded the Vatican, and then 6 months later, exactly one half of the calendar year, is the 11th of August. And folks, when you look at astrology, you're talking about the founding date in the zodiac sign Aquarius, the water bearer. And then the opposite end of that is Leo the lion. It's the water bearer and the lion. And remember, folks, in the month of February, in the Tropic of Cancer, in the North American hemisphere, it's winter time. In Rome, it's winter time in February. It's the coldest known month, February, in the Tropic of Cancer. And in August, it's summertime in the Northern Hemisphere. Leo. People get crazy. They take their clothes off. They go in the sun. They party. They expand. You see, this is a true reflection of expansion and contraction. Aquarius is contraction going inward, and August/Leo is expansion. Taking a breath outwards, Aquarius is taking a breath inwards. It's the yin yang, folks. The breath of the cosmos, August and February. And notice that on the calendar, there it is, February 11th to August 11th, 6 months, exactly one half of a calendar year. It's 181 days, and 181 is the 42nd prime number, which is molybdenum again. Tied to St. Peter's cross. That's why there's St. Peter's Square. Peter has the upside down cross. We're in the upside down world, folks. And, the subtleties is, there's your 1111. There's your 1111. August 11th is 811. 811 and 211. 28 is our DNA. 28's tied to the 33. 11's the number of alternating current and magic, folks. Here are the two cards, opposite of one another on the calendar, the founding date of the Vatican. This is the reason why they chose this date. 42nd day of the year. It's tied to lead, the upside down cross in the upside down world. February 11th, the Ace Spades card. The opposite on the calendar is August 11th, which is the Two Diamonds card. Let me be very transparent. February 11th, there it is, Ace Spades. August 11th, there it is, it's the Two Diamonds. Just so we can be really crystal clear and transparent here, folks. But there are the two cards, folks. And when you do the numerology, when you say that, Ace Spades, Two Diamonds, you get the element gold, 79. Folks, this is not a coincidence, by the way. This is the code expressing itself. Makes the Christianity religion super duper duper powerful. Because of these layers that you're seeing. This is all organic. So let's get into some sacred geometry and the octagon. Like the octopus. That's what Yaldabaoth is known as. The octopus, the octagon. 8 sides, folks. There it is. This is where the shape of the umbrella comes into play. There's 8 of those at 135 degrees. There's a very specific reason for that. 45-degree angle coming in. Very dead center. And this is a direct match, from what I feel, of the center point of the Vatican. Here it is. And you'll notice, there's 8 different points on this octagon. And there's 8 different points on this I think this is St. Peter's Square, but this is the center point of the Vatican right here. And there are 8 points. In the very middle, there's your penis. There's your phallus, giving and receiving energy. And this is the octagon. Folks, this is, remember, the Vatican is in Rome, and Rome is made known the Colosseum and the gladiators fighting in the Colosseum, folks. And now in our world, we have the Ultimate Fighting Championship. History repeating itself. Men just going in there and bludgeoning themselves. Fighting. People getting off on that. Violence. There's the octagon. 8 sides, folks, in the umbrella. 8 sides. So where this show on Netflix, The Umbrella Academy. It's all linked together, folks, all of it. They're number 5, the main character, he's a teleporter. He's a time traveler. Stop sign, 8 sides. And this, I feel, is the octagon. The 8, representing the number 8. Octopus has 8 legs. Octagon is the 30. Demiurge is the 30. I feel that here on Earth, we're the representation of the number 8. That's why we live inside the Taurus fields, which is the infinity symbol. Past, present, and future, all linked to the number 8, folks. 8 points here in the Vatican. You can clearly see them. They're outlined. Make no mistake about it. Octagon, folks. Octopus. Yaldabaoth. Demiurge. And that's where we get this Ultimate Fighting Championship from. They fight in the octagon, folks. That's what we're doing in the game of life. We're fighting, folks. You don't have to get into the actual ultimate fighting and, be a mixed martial artist. Folks, when you go out into this world, you're fighting for your life, man. This is a place of suffering. As beautiful as it is, we suffer. So, what's the one after the octagon? The nonagon. It's the 9-sided polygonal shape. So it's 8 and 9. Remember, Yaldabaoth equals the number 89. And in the string of pi, folks, this is where, again, another layer we're adding to this. Man would have to code this and go into the code and make sure they do it this way. This is where the number 89 is found. It appears at the 11th decimal digit, but it occupies the 11th and 12th digits in pi right there. There are the first 12 digits in pi, the 89, the first 12. How many zodiac signs are there? They're in the classical 12. How many hours on a clock? 12. 12 hours of light, 12 hours of darkness. 24, matched to our X chromosomes, the X-Men. When we add all those digits up, where that 89 is found from the 8-sided octagon, the 9-sided nonagon, it gives us the total of 58, folks. 58. Tied to the element cerium. Cerium, when you go look at that on the periodic table, folks, it's the goddess of agriculture. It's the asteroid Ceres, which the Romans ended up linking it to the goddess of agriculture. A lot of clues here. And here are the common isotopes. Right here. Here are the most common. There's pi itself at the very bottom, 1111 percentage, 3.141. There's pi. But here are 2 of the isotopes, 135 and 140. Cerium has these 2 weights. Look at the degrees on the octagon, 135 degrees. On the nonagon, it's 140 degrees. Linked to the element cerium, the 58 found from adding up those digits where the 89 is found, the 11th and 12th digits, 58. And folks, what is, if you've been following through this work, keep your eyes on that Chaldean. There it is. You see Puppet Master. The title, Puppet Master, is tied to that element cerium, the 58. Tied to these 2 shapes in sacred geometry, folks. The 9 rules the 8. The 8's on Earth. We live in the 8. Infinity. Past, present, and future constantly being moved. The 9 is the overlord of the 8. The 8 and 9 work together. Make no mistake about it, folks. This is the way it works. Here's another example just to strengthen and support what I'm showing you here today, in case you have any doubts. Octagon and nonagon, that's what they're titled as. Nonagon is the 33. It's the number 9, the 9 points. When you add these two up, it gives you a total of 63. That's linked to this element right here called copper. And if you know your history, if you know your esoteric, if you know your theology, the Temple of Jerusalem, copper pillars, Boaz and Jachin, now getting into the Old Testament. It doesn't matter what testament you use, folks. They're all tied together. No separation. Copper, Boaz and Jachin, made of brass or copper. Yaldabaoth. Remember, Yaldabaoth is 29 in the Chaldean. There's the 29 with the protons of copper. There's one of the atomic weights of copper, 63. There's the 89 octagon, the 8-sided polygonal shape. Nonagon, the 9-sided polygonal shape. Sacred geometry. There's the 8-sided inside the Vatican, folks. How about that? Folks, make no mistake about it. This is the way it works. This is the code showing you how it works. Man's not coding this, folks. Man's just expressing the blueprint. So now we get into King James, the guy who delivered the most famous Bible known to man in the year 1611 through the Catholic Church. King James. And there it is. Not a secret with this stuff. All these symbols in here. There's two different artist renditions of it. Folks, what I want to point out to you. What I want to point out to you, folks, is a very specific thing on these graphics and renditions of the Holy Bible, the King James Version. And it's at the very top, folks. Let me zoom in. And there it is. Quietly in the background. There it is. At the very top. Above that dove. Right in the middle of the sun and moon. Probably the star Sirius or the rendition of that. But folks, this is the Yod-Heh Vah-Heh. By the way, this is taken from the Torah. Holy Bible is a combination of the Old and New Testament. So again, folks, there's no separation between being of the Jewish faith or being a Protestant or a Baptist or a Christian for that matter. Folks, you're tied to the Jewish faith because it's right there, folks. This is the ancient Israelite God of the Old Testament. Old Testament came first. These are not my opinions, by the way. It's right there. And just so we're crystal clear, so you can clearly see, here is the symbols. There it is. Yod-Heh Vah-Heh, right there, folks. The original spelling in Hebrew / Aramaic. It's right there at the top of each of these Bibles. The King James Bible that came out in the year 1611. How about that, folks? So, folks, there's no separation. That's why the Jewish faith, they have the cube, Saturn, it's all tied to Yaldabaoth. It's all the same thing. It's just wears different clothes. So King James, here he is. And I want you to notice, and again, this guy was being used. Here's his code. I'm showing you. He was born on June 19th, and he passed on March 27th. 27th's currency. 19 is the sun. 19's battery. 19 is the 1 and 9, the battery. But notice the cards. This is where I can clearly support and show you that man's being used. Man's just, this guy, the King James, just playing out his code. He was born into this world to deliver this Bible. Right there, deliver it to the world. Became the authoritative Bible. It's the most popular Bible on the planet, folks. And again, it doesn't matter which one you use. The words may be jumbled around, different words, but they all lead to the same origins. His birth card is right here, the Jack Clubs. June 19th is the Jack Clubs, the 24th card in the deck. The X is the 24th letter, as in X-Men, and then his death date was March 27th, and that's the 9 clubs. Let me be very transparent. Go to the chart. March 27th, his death date, here it is, 9 clubs. And then his birthday of June 19th. June 19th, there it is, the Jack Clubs card. So this guy has a pair of clubs for his birth and death card. It's card number 24 and card number 22. Let's go to that. Again, being very transparent. Here's the club suits. Here's the Jack, the 24th card. Here's the 9, the 22nd card. 22 plus 24 equals the number 46. 46. When you take the days on the calendar and you add those up, 19 plus 27, get out your calculators. What are you going to get? 46. His life was completely scripted and rigged, folks, just playing out his part. It's tied to, this is the Dewey Rhymes version of the Bible, which is the very one Bible that Joe Biden, who is a Catholic, Joe Biden's the second Catholic in office. The first one was John F. Kennedy, that we know of. But here is Biden being sworn in with his hand on this Dewey Rhymes Bible. And this is the front cover of that, folks. You see that? There's the cross. I showed it on the Vatican flag, but notice it's in the shape of that symbol that we know as the club, but it's called the trefoil. It's a cross. And, if you study, what does it say in the Bible? It says, God was the Word and the Word was God. Well, what precedes the spoken word? It's the thought, the mind. This is the air suit, the mind of the cosmos. And this guy right here has 2 clubs, delivers this Bible, which has the Yod Vahe on it, which is Jewish, which means that the Old and New Testament doesn't matter. You might as well just squash the title. They're all the same. All the same thing. That's why religion is dumb, if you ask me. People just fight about, there's over 9,000 religions. What happened to the first one? Retarded, if you ask me. But there it is, the trefoil. And Joe Biden being sworn in. So again, King James, who delivered this Bible through the Vatican, 24th card for his birth, 22nd card for his death, June 19th to March 27th. Both these numbers, when you add them up, 24 plus 22, 46. 19 plus 27, 46. Right there, 46. It's called, the element's called palladium. Palladium has several weights. That's why I'm showing 104 and 105. What is 105, folks? Well, it's what the Masons call the great architect of the universe. That equals the number 105. The great architect of the universe. And then the 104, why am I showing that? Because you see, folks, it's tied to the Christ, which is, where the Vatican is made famous for. They're the ones who brought the Christ to the front and delivered it to the world. And this is in Matthew 27. Notice that, Matthew 27 is currency. 37 is the Jack Diamonds. Matthew 27, the currency, the Jack Diamonds of currency, folks. This is all part of the game, part of the construct. This is the scripture and what it says, the standout. This is Jesus, the King of Jews. Right there, folks, when you do the numerology of that. Not only is it 27 letters, and what is 27? It's tied to the word currency. But it equals the number 104. That is the element palladium. 46. Now, what is this right here, folks? Well, I'm glad you asked. What is that? That's the tree of life in the Old Testament, in the biblical sense. When you go and you type in, just very transparent, because they're the ones who brought it to the forefront of our world, folks. The tree of life, the biblical, here it is. And there it is, folks. This is tree and that's life. The tree of life. It's what they tell you to pay attention to. The tree of life, 46. What is 46? It's the mirror of the 64. What is 64? It's the possible codons in our DNA. There's 64 squares on a chessboard. Tied to this element palladium, tied to the tree of life, tied to the Jesus character, tied to the King James guy who delivered the Bible called the King James Version. So you can see, folks, all of these connect. They're all part of the script. The script is fixed and rigged, and man's not doing anything but living out the expressions of the blueprint. This is all organic, folks. It's all part of the software, all of it. And I have a feeling, if you ask me, my personal opinion, you're going to get recycled back in the game. This is what all this stuff's for. Putting your faith in this character gets you recycled right back into the game. That's even if we have a choice. So this Bible, the most popular Bible in the world, folks, the authoritative Bible, by the way, is the King James Version. It came out in the year 1611. 16 plus 11 is the number 27, which is tied to this word right here called religion. You know, religion, same as religion, legion. If you know what the word legion means, what does re means to do it over again. Redo, repeat. Religion. You want to repeat it again, the game? Get stuck in the currency? Go ahead and put your faith in all these ideas. When you use the English, look at what we get, folks. Religion is an 89 tied to the word Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic demiurge that runs the religions in the world today. And then, of course, you know, what version of the Bible is it? The King James Version. So who do you think actually gave King James the ideas to write down and deliver with the Roman Catholic Church? Yeah, it's the Gnostic demiurge. Goes by many names. The Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. Folks, it's all the same thing. It just wears different clothes to confuse you, to make it seem like that's not it. No, my God's the right God. Your God is the wrong one. You know, I mean, Catholic, 27. Currency, 27. Think this is by accident, folks? Do you think this is by accident? It's all by design, and man's not doing it. Man's just playing out the code. So now we get into the keys of Jesus, folks, and I hope that you've been following along during this great research, because now I'm going to be bringing in the torus fields. And if you haven't seen my Architect of the Universe Part 1 and Part 2, this is going to be an extension of that. I have this coming out in my Architect of the Universe Decoded Part 3. Seems to be becoming a series now, but this is the keys of Jesus, folks, and here are the keys. This is a snapshot from the great Ken Wheeler and his video called The Nature's Secrets of Magnetism. This is a video from Ken Wheeler. A great one. And right in the dead center, folks, he puts a magnet. Not only a magnet, but a square, a cube magnet. And when he does that, the light ends up refracting and it creates these two black holes, aka torus fields. And this looks just like a tree, does it not? Tree of life, tree of knowledge, past, present, and future. That's what you're looking at here, folks. Here's the infinity symbol. That's what this all means. And the keys to Jesus, because when I overlay it onto the graphic that I've been using through my Architect of the Universe Decoded Part 1 and Part 2 and upcoming Part 3, here is a rendition of the torus fields. In the background, of course, the checkerboard, the duality, just for fun, because that's what we're living in, duality. And this is a representation of the past, present, and future. In the very center would be the cube, rhodium's cube. And perhaps this would be the past, and perhaps this would be the future. And in the middle is the now moment, where the sands of time drip down. And right there is where you can take the actual logo that's on the Vatican flag, place it right over. Notice where it goes, folks. This is what I believe to be the truth. Why these logos are made the way they are. Mining the energetic golds, past, present, and future, and being stuck in the middle, the now moment, and the crown at the top. So these keys are representing, folks. When you end up bringing in another layer with the tarot, the ancient tarot system. No, it's not demonic, folks. It's only demonic if you want to use it for demonic purposes. And I use that very loosely. But there it is. It's the hangman hung upside down. Go back and there, you can see it clearly fits there. Being hung upside down in the upside down world, folks. And on either side of the hangman is the past, present, and future, the currency that makes up the infinity symbol. And, this is the 12th card in the deck. It's linked to this element right here called magnesium. Magnesium's name is derived from the word magnet. We're all magnetic. The most abundant weight of magnesium is 23.985. What's 23? It's the royal star of the lion in numerology. It's tied to the words crown, history, and blood, which is what we all have. There's the crown, folks. Crown, blood, and history, stuck in the upside down world. And this is the 12th card, being Pisces. There's the infinity symbol encapsulating both keys, going right back to that Taurus field, right back from Ken Wheeler's video. It's amazing, folks, when you syncretize all this. There it is. And then you can put the cross in there, folks. There's where the Christ comes in. Paying for our sins. You got to put your faith in something to pay for your sins. I don't know why you got to, for what, I have no idea. I don't know why you'd have to put faith in something to save you. You take this whole idea out of the equation, and are you just going to give up and be an asshole and not be a good person? You're going to just change your ways and say, well, Jesus is not here now for me to put my salvation in, so now that gives me an excuse to be an asshole and treat people bad. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go do. The whole story's ridiculous. But there it is, folks. Clearly, this is the way I feel it works. Encapsulating the game of life. Here it is. Past, present, and future. The Akashic Records is in here. So you have the hangman in the upside down world. And then you have the Christ and the crucifixion, both of them carrying the weight of the gold and silver currency. So that leads to the last topic, folks, called the Abyss. That's in the spell book called the Bible, the Abyss. And, the Abyss, through numerology, is the number 10. And where's that found in the string of pi? It appears at the 49th decimal digit, 49 and 50, which is 109. 109 is the 29th prime number. That's Yaldabaoth, by the way. Let me just be really transparent on that. 10 in the string of pi occupies 49 and 50. 49 plus 50 is 109. And when you go to numberempire.com and you type in 109, it's the 29th prime number. What's 29? It's Yaldabaoth, folks. 1 and 9 makes up the battery. The Abyss. We live in the Abyss. Alice in Chains sang that song, Down in a Hole. I decoded it. If you haven't seen that decode, please check it out. We're all stuck in the hole. That's why Alice and Wonderland is a direct match to the word Alice and Bible. Go type in those two words in your numerology cipher and see how many outcomes you get that are connected. Alice and Bible. There's like 9 or 10 different ciphers that are a direct match. For good reason. Down in a hole, 49. 49, abyss is the hole we get all thrown down into. It's called Earth. And this is perhaps the way it really works, folks. Right here. is we live in this hourglass. I mean, hourglass is 33, tied to that crucifixion, and we're living in the sands of time, and perhaps this is the abyss. And there's only so much time before the game resets. That's not a secret. Currently, right now, the North and South poles are exchanging places in our world. They're moving towards one another. They're exchanging places, North and South. And this is flipping because the sands of time, I feel, they're out. What happens when the sands of times run out? When you have an egg timer, you flip it back over, start the game back over again. And this just constantly spins, and the sands run down into the abyss. And right now, the North and South Pole, if you ever researched what's called the pole shift, that's the North and South poles exchanging places. That's what I feel is the hourglass, the North and South sides of the hourglass, it's being flipped over because the sands ran out. The game needs to be restarted. It's a very good possibility. That's the way this works, folks. You can syncretize all this stuff. You can syncretize it all. We're in the abyss, down in hell, in the hellish regions, in the lower part of the hourglass. And, here is the down in a hole. I mean, we fall down the hole. That's what the story of Alice in Wonderland is. Again, here is the outcome when you do the numerology of gold and silver, the original spellings of it. It's 49. It's down in a hole, folks. It's down in a hole. And you go back to, the keys of the Vatican, and it's the gold and silver keys. Collecting our energetic gold, folks. Collecting our energetic gold inside the hourglass. Down in a hole, folks. 49. How about that? So coincidental? You think man's coding all this? This certainly has nothing to do with mocking you, I can assure you that. There's nothing to do with that. This is part of the code, folks. Like when a coder writes code, it has to be very specific for it to work properly. Operating systems. It's the same thing with this game of life. It's perfect in its code. So anyway, folks, what is it you saw during this presentation? I'd love to hear what your vantage points were and what you saw to add to what I've shown during this presentation. And again, folks, these are my opinions and truths. I do a lot of research. These are my truths. You don't have to believe me. That's all good. Not everybody does. But folks, we're getting closer to the truth on how this reality really works. Not just what somebody told you on a Sunday morning in church. But that's all I got for today, folks. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality, and I really appreciate each and every one of you watching and for all your support. Thank you so very much. Until next time, folks, we'll see you later.